coming up from the Northeast Live studios in Guwahati, Northeast Tonight with Wasbir Hussain.
Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. The criminal act of a bunch of current students of Dibrugarh University subjecting a young student to physical torture in the name of ragging has shocked Assam. There were past students also involved in this criminal act. Anand Sharma, an MCom first-year student, was so badly abused that he had to jump from the second floor of his hostel to escape from his tormentors and is currently battling for life at the ICU of a private hospital in Dibrugarh. Now, several questions arise. What were the hostel warden and the Dibrugarh University authorities doing when the parents of the victim had apprised the warden of their son's plight? Was the warden trying to hide the fact that Anand was going through the trauma of ragging for quite some time? Or was the warden turning a blind eye to the happening? The victim, Anand Sharma, had written to the warden himself on November 17th, seeking help and had even named 10 students. What took the warden so much time then to react to the complaint? Probably the tragic incident could have been avoided if the warden would have acted on time. And can the buck stop with the warden alone? To broad-base the issue, why are some students of Assam's premier university like Dibrugarh University indulging in such medieval practices like ragging when they are expected to promote a competitive academic atmosphere? Now, both Assam Education Minister Dr. Ronuz Pegu and the University Vice Chancellor Dr. Jiten Hazarika have admitted that some outsiders, perhaps former students, were staying at the hostel. The Education Minister has said Dibrugarh University has been directed to expel all outsiders and former students from the hostels. The VC as well as the Registrar of Dibrugarh University have since admitted that the incident has dented the image of Dibrugarh University. Is admitting this enough? What message does this criminal act send out to the academic world? By the way, the university has admitted that the victim was tortured the whole night and that he jumped from the second floor to escape the torture. In fact, an FIR has been lodged by the university authorities with Dibrugarh police, where they said that the victim was subjected to ragging from 4:30 p.m. on the 26th of November till 5 a.m. of 27th of November, that is the whole full 12 hours or more. Now, to discuss the incident that has shocked Assam, I am joined by Guwahati University Professor Dr. Rajiv Handik. So, joining me as well is Professor Kuldeep Patwari, also from Guwahati University. Also with me is leading psychiatrist Dr. Joyant Das. Senior advocate Mr. Bijan Mahajan is also likely to be with me, and I have with me well-known writer and commentator Mr. Mayur Bora. Gentlemen, welcome to Northeast Tonight. Now, before I go to my panelist, now let's take a look at what happened. Now you see, first of all, yesterday this incident happened as we have said. This is the FIR. This is the FIR lodged by the Dibrugarh University authorities under the Dibrugarh University's letterhead, wherein they told the police that Anand Sharma, the first-year MCom student, the young boy, was subjected to ragging from 4:30 p.m. of 26/11 and confined until 5 in the morning and continued until 5 in the morning of 27th. And the below noted students, including the passed out students. So this is a confirmation by the university authorities that present and past students were involved in ragging. So they have also given the names of several students in this FIR. Now what action has the Dibrugarh University taken? Now let us first look let us first hear, in the middle of the day yesterday, towards afternoon, I had a telephonic talk with the Dibrugarh University Vice Chancellor, Dr. Jiten Hazarika, who was in Guwahati University attending a national education policy meeting. Now, by that time, when I spoke to him, there was an order. There was a so-called order. This is a copy of the order that was in circulation in the social media. This was the Dibrugarh University's purported order that was in circulation in the social media that said that 18 students have been expelled from that particular hostel, and therefore the Padmanath Gohai Barua Chhatra Nivas, and they shall therefore cease to be students of Dibrugarh University. This order that was in circulation said 18 students were expelled from the hostel, and that they will henceforth, with immediate effect, cease to be students from the Dibrugarh University. Now, this means that they were rusticated. That is the reason why media outlets were saying that Dibrugarh University has rusticated 18 students. Then, around 2:33 in the afternoon, the registrar, Mr. Sonowal, he addressed a press conference. Let us hear what the registrar has said. Registrar, let's go to that press conference.
আমি কেতিয়াও ৰেগিঙৰ ক্ষেত্ৰতে হওক ছাত্ৰ ছাত্ৰী ইনডিসিপ্লিনেৰ ক্ষেত্ৰতে হওক আমাৰ ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ প্ৰশাসনে কেতিয়াও আমি হেতু কম্প্ৰমাইজ কৰা নাই আৰু ভৱিষ্যতেও নকৰো আমি কঠোৰৰ পৰা কঠোৰতম শাস্তি আমি দিবৰ কাৰণে আমি প্ৰস্তুত কৰি আহিছো আৰু ভৱিষ্যতে কৰি যাম ইতিমধ্যে এন্টি ৰেগিং কমিটিৰ সিদ্ধান্ত অনুসৰি আমি ইতিমধ্যে এফআইআৰ দিছো আৰু লগতে বাকি চাৰিজনক আমি সাময়িকভাৱে শ্ৰেণীত উপস্থিত থকাৰ পৰা বাৰণ কৰা হৈছে
Now, the registrar, he talked about action against 4 or 5, and it was not clear, it was some kind of a confusion that they were temporarily suspended from attending classes and so on. So the first order that was supposed to have been in circulation said 18 people have been expelled from the hostel, and therefore they will cease to be students of Dibrugarh University. And then we heard the registrar saying that 4 or 5 people, they have been temporarily suspended from attending classes. Now, to obtain clarity, our correspondent Ripunjoy Das in Dibrugarh then confronted or interviewed the dean of the university. Let's hear what the dean had to say.
Out of these 18 students, 2 students are taken by the police yesterday at night from the hostel itself. They are Simanto Hazarika and Pranjit Borua. Because they are taken up by the police from the hostel, therefore, in our today's meeting, it is decided that these 2 students are to be debarred from attending their classes. And remaining are, actually the inquiry is going on because university has some process, the set rules, and therefore after the inquiry is complete, we will be deciding, or the committee will be deciding about any further procedures about these 18 students, remaining 16 students.
So it is clear that all the 18 students had not been debarred from attending classes. They have been asked to vacate their hostels.
Exactly, yes.
So, they have not been debarred. That is what the dean is saying, that 18 students too have been picked up by the police, and therefore they will not attend classes, obviously, because they are in police custody. Now, regarding the 16, the dean said that investigation is going on, further action is going on, so there is not much of clarity. When the correspondent asked, that means they can attend classes, they have not been debarred from attending classes, then the dean ended saying that, yes, exactly. Now, the point is, if you have expelled, the big question that is arising now, viewers, is that 18 people have been named, 18 people. Now, 2 of them have been picked up by the police, remaining 16, according to the dean, can attend classes. So now they have been expelled from the hostel. All they have to do is to go take a rented accommodation just outside the university and attend classes. So this is extremely lenient. Now, before I go to my panelists, I'll quickly talk about what is the UGC guidelines on ragging, University Grants Commission? Now, anyone found guilty of participating or abetting ragging, admission will be cancelled, will be suspended from attending classes, scholarships, fellowships will be withdrawn or withheld, will be barred from appearing in exams, will be suspended or expelled from hostel, will be rusticated for 1 to 4 semesters, will be expelled from the institution, barred from admission in other institutions, fined 25 to a lakh, barred from representing institution any national, international meet, youth festivals, etc. And a migration or transfer certificate will mention that she was punished for ragging. Not just that, even there are guidelines. Institutes which are not able to comply with anti-ragging measures could even be delisted. Now, the Supreme Court has also have a ruling or an observation on ragging. Supreme Court observation on ragging. In 2006, Supreme Court had declared ragging a criminal offense. Now, they have said that orientation, sensitization programs must be done, joint orientation program for freshers and seniors. Warden should address all students. Faculty members should dine. Faculty members should dine with hostel residents to instill a feeling of confidence among the freshers. Anti-ragging committee, anti-ragging squads should make surprise raids. Wardens should be available round the clock. Now, whether or not this has happened, this has been followed, we'll yet to know. Now, what was the warden doing? Because warden has a big role. Now, we have a letter, let's show the letter, written by the victim himself, the young Anand Sharma, to the warden on 17th of November. It's a handwritten letter. It's a handwritten letter. Let's show the letter of the Padmanath Guhai Borua Chatra Nivas, where he said that please save me from my trauma. I have been subjected to ragging. And he had listed out 10 names. He had listed out 10 names. That is the letter written by Anand Sharma, the first year MCOM student of Dibrugarh University, to the warden on 17. What was the warden doing? As we have said, if the warden would have acted, perhaps the tragedy would not have unfolded. Now let's go to our panelists. I have an esteemed panel tonight. Let's have everybody on the screen. Dr. Rajiv Handik, Dibrugarh University ragging incident has shocked the state. It's shocked the state. You are previously a professor at Dibrugarh University. What are your thoughts tonight? Rajiv.
Yeah, indeed, I am really shocked because I also feel that Dibrugarh University is very close to my heart, as I have worked there for almost 2 decades. And whatever has happened is indeed very, very unfortunate. But there are a few matters that which I want to actually today bring into light. One is actually maybe this is not a one-off incident. We shouldn't consider these matters to be one-off incident. There is a possibility that it might be also the tip of the iceberg. So it is something, a perversion that has crept into one institution, and it's also not that it's not there in other institutions. So I am very worried because this might bring in a lot of challenges in the form of, what is happening in these institutions, especially publicly funded institutions. So we have to remember that this institution is being funded by public money. And incidents like this in these institutions, actually it raises quite a lot of questions because higher education is so expensive and students will not get the due share of whatever they are actually desired. It's not being done there. Yeah.
Right. I'll let me get the opening remarks from all my panelists before we engage in the discussions. Kuldeep Patwari, you have studied both in the state, you had studied in Delhi, you had your higher education in New Delhi, now you are working at the Guwahati University. You have seen it all, what do you have to say? Because at a time when India is on course to become, or India wants to become one of the top nations in the world, we have our students still engaged in medieval practices like ragging, where you are subjecting your juniors to mental torture and physical torture instead of trying to, inspire them to be good citizens.
Right. this incident of ragging that has come to light from Dibrugarh University, as Professor Hendik has rightly pointed out, is not a one-off incident. If you look at the cases of ragging, not only in Assam, but in the context of India, we see that most of the educational institutions in India right now are gripped by issues of ragging, be it the IITs. A few months back, we had an incident in IIT Kharagpur where a student allegedly committed suicide because of
student from Assam.
incidents of ragging.
Student from Assam, Kuldeep.
And not only IIT Kharagpur. That I'm not sure. I don't think so. It's an issue from IIT Kharagpur though. So we do have incidents from all over the country where ragging is taking place. In fact, there is this organization called Coalition to Uproot Ragging from Education, which had conducted a 2013 study that had close to 11,000 respondents from 37 to 38 institutions all over the country. And more than 40% of the students polled in that survey said that they felt that ragging was still an issue in their institutions. This is very evident from the incidents that have been occurring. So, unfortunately, even after so many years of independence, when we are talking about a new India emerging, we have surprisingly not been able to put behind the cases of ragging and give our students a better academic life in the institutions.
Right, Mayur Bora, both Dr. Rajiv Hendik and Kuldeep Patwari from Guwahati University have said that this is not a one-off incident. Yes, of course it is. Let us focus our attention tonight on Dibrugarh University. Yes, this is not a one-off incident. In August 2009, Dibrugarh University had expelled one PG student and penalized 8 more. Cash penalties were also imposed. Again, in September 2009, 4 PG students were suspended. I am talking about Dibrugarh University. 4 PG students were suspended. 3 undergraduate students from the Assam Medical College were also suspended. And in March 2022, that means this year, 2 Dibrugarh University students were rusticated for 4 semesters. Now, the big question, Mayur Bora, is why are the universities, why is an institution, premier institute like Dibrugarh University, not been able to curb poaching? You've heard my opening statements where there was so much of confusion within the officials of the Dibrugarh University about the action taken. So what do you make of this?
I think you made a very sober statement saying that the picture is not very clear, the authorities what they are telling, the registrar as well as the dean. But for me the picture is very, very clear. The horrifying incident of ragging that Anand Sharma has been subjected to and the kind of action it was expected from Dibrugarh University to tackle this kind of thing squarely and roundly, it is missing. So the action they are proposing seems to be disproportionate to the degree or magnitude of the crime being perpetrated on a young student who might have joined the university with a lot of hopes and dreams and aspiration. So one thing is very, very clear. Secondly, as Professor Hendik has already told, it is not an isolated incident and you have also highlighted that few other incidents that took place. But what we have been doing in last few years or few months, one thing is very sure. I don't want to blame only the Dibrugarh University. I think it's more or less there in Brahmaputra Valley. The issues like ragging are always sought to be played down by a major section of the society. We will talk about this, but after some time, the academic institution, the student bodies and student organization who are supposed to be the flag bearers of many other good things in life or society, they are always playing down this kind of thing. And that's why it has been recurring. Absolutely. And that's why you have to loudly lament today that when India is heading towards demographic dividend, more than, 70-80% of the people in India is less than 35 years of age. And we are discussing here tonight about that medieval practice of horrifying ragging being perpetrated on a young student.
Absolutely.
That's very, very disturbing and unfortunate.
At a time when 65% of India's population are supposed to be young, 35% are in the 20s age group, 20 to 30 age group, we are discussing a horrible incident. I will go to Dr. Joynton Das, a very well-known psychiatrist. But before that, let's listen in to what the Dibrugarh University Vice Chancellor had told me yesterday afternoon. Mind it, he was in Guwahati attending a meeting at Guwahati University, but when I telephoned him to get his first reaction on the incident, he said that the 18 students were rusticated. That means he had also heard about it. That means, does it then mean that the Dibrugarh University was modifying its order throughout the day yesterday? Let's listen in that phone conversation.
Dr. Hazarika, your first comments on the very shocking incident of ragging at the university and the action taken.
Actually, now I am in Guwahati in a important meeting in NEP. But so far as my knowledge is concerned, we have decided to restrict 18 students, 18 boarders, that means from the hostel, and also some outside boarders are there. Actually, they were our students, master students. Against them also, we are deciding to take FIR, lodging FIR.
So how can outside students be staying in the hostel? How were they allowed? Who allowed them to stay?
No. They have taken some diploma courses or some other courses admission, but I am not sure because I am out of station. But it is a sudden happening. They are not permanently staying in the hostel.
Doctor.
Okay, you have heard there, viewers, what the Vice Chancellor had said yesterday afternoon. He said that 18 boarders were rusticated, that is the word he used, or that means expelled from the hostel. And there was some confusion even there, what is the point in expelling from the hostel? If the person can just take up a rented accommodation just outside the gates of the university. So there also it was not clear whether they were rusticated from just the hostel or debarred from attending classes. This was not sure. And he of course admitted that there were students from outside, there were outsiders in the hostel, and that they were doing some diploma courses. So this was something which at least to me sounded slightly vague. Maybe the Vice Chancellor was busy in his meeting and therefore he could not elaborate. I'm not quite sure about that. But at this point in time, I'm coming to you, Dr. Jointon Das, in a minute. We have a reaction from Assam Chief Minister, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma. He has expressed dissatisfaction with the way the Dibrugarh University administration has dealt with the ragging case. Let's listen in to what Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma had to say.
ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় কৰ্তৃপক্ষই যিমান সাহসিকতাৰে এই ৰেগিঙৰ বিৰুদ্ধে যুঁজিব লাগিছিল তাত তেওঁলোক ব্যৰ্থ হৈছে সেপ্টেম্বৰ মাহত হোৱা ঘটনা এটা যোৱা কালিলৈকে তদন্ত কমিটিয়ে ৰিপৰ্ট নিদিয়া কথাটো কেবিনেটে ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ চূড়ান্ত প্ৰশাসনিক ব্যৰ্থতা বুলি অভিহিত কৰিছে আৰু ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ অধীক্ষক গৰাকীকে আদি কৰি এই গোটেই ঘটনাটোক গাপ দিব চেষ্টা কৰা হৈছিল নেকি বুলি আৰক্ষী তদন্তৰ আওতাত ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় কৰ্তৃপক্ষকো আনিবলৈ আমি ডিব্ৰুগড় পুলিচক নিৰ্দেশ দিছোঁ যে যদি ঘটনাটো গাপ দিব চেষ্টা কৰা হৈছিল দেন হুএভাৰ হি মাইট বি ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ অথৰিটিৰ ভিতৰতো যদি কোনোবা এনেকুৱা ব্যক্তি আছে তেওঁলোককো আৰক্ষী তদন্তৰ আওতাত আনিবৰ বাবে কেবিনেটে নিৰ্দেশ দিছে আৰু কেবিনেটে ডিব্ৰুগড় বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় কৰ্তৃপক্ষৰ ওপৰত নিজৰ অসন্তুষ্টি ব্যক্ত কৰিছে মই আপোনাৰ কথাখিনিকে মই ক'লো যে উই হেভ এক্সপ্ৰেছ আৱাৰ ডিসস্যাটিসফেকশন উইথ দ্য ৱে ডিব্ৰুগড় ইউনিভাৰ্চিটি হেজ ডেল্ট উইথ such a serious offenses আৰু অসমত আমি কোনো কলেজতে কোনো ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিতে আমি ৰেগিং সহ্য নকৰো There will be zero tolerance. সিদিনাখন ৰাতি মই 1:30 বজাত এছপিৰ লগত কথা পাতিছোঁ যে ৰাতিয়ে লৰা এৰেষ্ট কৰক যি কেজন পলায়ন কৰি আছে তেওঁলোককো গ্ৰেপ্তাৰ কৰা হ'ব আৰু if there is any complicity with the authority will not spare them also.
Mayur Bora, there cannot have been perhaps a stronger statement from the Chief Minister of Assam. He has said that Dibrugarh University authorities should also be brought under the police probe. So you have heard it all. What do you think?
No, see, I was telling some time back that the issue of ragging.
Please comment on the Chief Minister.
That's what. That all throughout we have been playing down the issue of ragging. Now, since the Honorable Chief Minister has taken a strong view, I think this is a message to be taken not only by the police, also by the conscious section of the society, that from now onwards, whenever it happens, do not try to hide it, do not try to suppress it, do not be in complicity with the authorities.
Absolutely.
Because we have been doing this. I have seen last 3-4 decades in Assam, there are different contexts actually during the time of Assam agitation. But now I think they have to be very strict. Yes, they have to be very, very strict. And whenever a small incident also happens, we should not say that mild ragging is allowed. There is a tendency among some people, okay, mild ragging is okay.
Absolutely.
This is the way people get introduced to the seniors. No means no. There is absolutely should not be any space for ragging.
Dr. Jointa Das, I'm not asking you, I will ask you a medical question later, but your thoughts on what the Chief Minister has just said, what do you think?
Very strong statement, and I wholeheartedly support what just now the Chief Minister has said. There should be zero tolerance so far the ragging is concerned in any institution. But unfortunately, what you have been discussing and other panelists has already mentioned, see, ragging has been going on traditionally, and people categorize it like mild, moderate. And when it comes to the public eye, when it comes to the media attention or the administration attention, when the degree of this ragging, crosses limits and it becomes that's only people become very active and they talk about and discuss about it. And Ajit Dibrugarh, today if Dibrugarh University incident, if the boy was not put in an ICU, probably we would not have discussed
this. Yes.
So
absolutely.
But my point is, irrespective of the degree of the ragging, it should be totally stopped. But here I have to say one thing. Administration taking actions on the people or the students who participate in ragging is one thing. But here I personally feel, who are the students, what kind of the students usually involved in this kind of a heinous, crime? Already you have mentioned very categorically, and as Supreme Court has mentioned, it's a criminal offense. Then who are the people, who are the kind of the student?
Yes. That is the point.
That is most important, I think. And here, just let me complete one sentence.
Yeah.
Here, I think students' community, they have to come forward and they have to take the initiative to stop this. They have to involve and they should communicate with the entire students community in all the students of Assam, if we have to focus only in Assam.
Absolutely.
And they should involve and they should take a very proactive actions. Leaving what are the responsibility administration take, that's a different thing.
Right. Now, I will. What are the type of people who commit this kind of crime? I'll talk to you about that. But this is an absolutely no confidence. This is a no confidence declared by the Chief Minister of Assam against the administration at Dibrugarh University. Kuldeep Patwari, I think the Assam government's tough action on ragging, against ragging, I think this should be welcomed by everybody. Kuldeep.
Right, it's a welcome step. Authorities should always take a 0% acceptance tolerance towards ragging, incidents of ragging, and I hope this would be emulated by authorities all over the state. Universities, colleges should enforce that no incidents or acts of ragging takes place. At this juncture, I would also like to highlight one issue that I think is very important when we are dealing with ragging cases. It's that if we look at all our provisions, whether it be IPC provisions, whether it's the guidelines or rules laid down by UGC or AICTE or other such councils, what we see is that the issue while tackling ragging is that most of the actions that are suggested are punitive in measure. That the whole idea is to punish the people who have committed the acts of ragging. Whereas there is no provision for prevention of ragging.
Right.
Of course, there have been regulations or rules laid down where advertisements have to be made, boards, just one more line, boards like flex banners and notices are put up. However, one crucial angle of it would also be to look after the mental health of students studying in institutions and provide counselors and psychiatric counseling.
Absolutely, Kuldeep.
Students
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. There are
maybe would help.
Yes, Kuldeep, I'll come back to you. Kuldeep, I'll come back to you. I'm also joined by Bijon Mahajan, well-known lawyer, Bijon Mahajan, senior advocate. Bijon Mahajan, Mr. Bijan Mahajan, welcome to the show. We are discussing the Dibrugarh University ragging incident, and just before you joined us, the Chief Minister of Assam said that there will be zero tolerance to ragging, and the Chief Minister, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, has categorically said that the Assam cabinet, that is the Assam government, is absolutely unhappy with the Dibrugarh University administration, the way they have tackled the issue, and said that he has ordered, the Assam government has ordered the university authorities also to be brought under the ambit of the police investigation. Your comments?
It's a very welcome step, and whatever has been said by the Chief Minister is definitely very welcome. And to be very precise, there are several acts, state acts in different states, and in Assam, we are very fortunate that we had an anti-ragging act that was legislated and came into being way back, if I am not mistaken, in 1998. And the quantum of punishment that has been provided is, so far as the act is concerned, within the purview of the act, it may extend to 6 months with or without fine. The offences are compoundable, at the same time cognizable, meaning thereby police can straightaway register a case upon a complaint by the victim or otherwise, and police on investigation can thereafter be on. And IPC sections of law, if assuming ragging goes to an extent that it's very unfortunate it should not go, and if it has gone to that extent that grievous injury is caused, then 326 IPC, all IPC sections can be attracted. And if fatality is there, definitely 302 IPC is there. And in my understanding as a student of law, ragging is there since generations. It was under the carpet all these years, but now it has come above the carpet. And to be very precise, in any institution wherein ragging takes place, mostly in boarding hostels, there the authorities are to be primarily blamed.
Right.
The students, senior students who take part in ragging, definitely the youngsters who are ragged, the green boys, definitely they complain. The complaints are not promptly attended to, possibly. This is my experience.
All these things, because
whatever has happened in Dibrugarh is to be condemned, and whatever the Chief Minister has said is very welcome and timely.
Yes, absolutely, because I'll have to go for a break, but let me tell you, on 17th of November itself, the victim had given a written letter to the warden of the hostel saying that he has been subjected to torture, subjected to ragging, and he has requested the warden to intervene and save him of his misery. But there is a big question. I'll come back after this very short break. I'll go straight to Dr. Joyanta Das to also understand. Mr. Bijan Mahajan, I request you to be there on the program. I'll not detain you for long. But the big question is, who are the type of people who indulges in this kind of crime? Is there a particular class of people? Do they have a particular mental condition?
The reason that he has said that parallelly police investigation would be on.
Yes.
That's very welcome. That's very welcome.
Absolutely. I'll go for a short break. Don't go away. We are in the middle of a very engaging discussion on the crime that is called ragging. Welcome back. Let me go to you, Dr. Joyanta Das. Is there a particular type of people? Do they have a particular mental condition? Is it so? Is it easy to understand? Can we understand that there are certain people with a certain mental condition who indulges in this kind of extreme steps, like torturing even during ragging, and to the extent that a person loses his mind, jumped. You wondered, this boy, in this case Anand Sharma, jumped from the second floor to escape his tormentors. So this is quite an extreme kind of a behavior.
See, Wasbir, it's like that. You have very nicely phrased our sentence before concluding the first phase of our discussion. We are discussing a crime called ragging. It's a very nicely phrased, and we should, I think it should be a, kind of a tag mark to go against, a movement where we should try to prevent ragging from the institution. Now, you see, already it has been established by the Supreme Court itself that this is a criminal offense. When we say it is a criminal offense, those people who indulges in this kind of activities, they must have certain criminal propensities in their personality. And when we have to discuss about this personality pattern, definitely, we have to trace back from the beginning, from their childhood, the way they were nurtured in the school environment, family environment, then of course in the social environment. So, in our society, there are certain specific personality pattern or specific individuals who has got certain personality where they indulges in criminal activities. One form of criminal activities is this, what we call now it's ragging, where a person can go to the extent of torturing physically, mentally, and traumatize another person who is being ragged. Now, you see, we have already discussed that, of course, Bijan Mahajan also has mentioned that since our college days, I joined my college in 50 years back. In our time also there was ragging. And if we have to level it mild, moderate, forget about the leveling of the degree. There was a fun, of course. I must admit, there was a fun. There was a interactions. We were asked to sing song, we were asked to dance. But even those kind of people who takes initiative and leadership in doing ragging, they find some kind of a pleasure.
Sadistic pleasure.
Yeah, sadistic pleasure, exactly. By torturing or by humiliating. See, humiliation is another form of mental trauma which is inflicted on any person. So, humiliating and traumatizing person is a severe crime, I would say, because once a person is traumatized, either in the form of physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, or even humiliation, that trauma will continue to haunt that person who is being,
all throughout the life.
It's all throughout. And this, I'm very sorry for this boy. He's in ICU, of course, for physical trauma. But you see, we say that physical trauma is visible, but psychological trauma is invisible. This PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, will continue to haunt this person. So this is why this students community said to take a very proactive role to educating the other students what are the consequences. And those people who indulges in ragging, they do not know, cannot think about the consequences of committing or violating any law. Just one more point. I have noticed one statement given by the Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University. He has mentioned that these students they are not permanent resident of the hostel. Then how come? You see, he mentioned that they do not stay there permanently. Just one point he mentioned. If it is so, how come the students who do not reside in a hostel can come and take part in this kind of activity?
There are a lot of things that only a serious police investigation or a magisterial investigation or even a judicial investigation is bring to the light. What was the warden doing? If the warden has received a letter on 17 November, what steps did he take?
No, even Chief Minister has said it was initiated in September.
Initiated in September, he was talking about another case which I have highlighted. There was a case in September, there was a case in August 2009, there was a case in September 2009, there was a case in March 2022, there was even perhaps what the Chief Minister said must have been a case in September this year. Which so now the question is, there was certainly lax on the part of the Dibrugarh University not to have acted or taken the matter seriously. In fact, according to the anti-ragging regulations of the UGC, the Vice Chancellor has to be briefed on anti-ragging measures every single week. So let's not go into all of that. Now Rajiv Hendik, stringent action the only way. Are you in favor of stringent action or not? Rajiv Hendik.
Yeah, this indeed is a very sorry state of affairs in the form, in the sense that actually you see, this is, I think, there are students involved, there is no doubt about that. But what is the percentage of students who actually indulge in this type of very inappropriate behavior or very barbaric behavior? You will find that this is a very small minuscule number of students who are actually into this. And who are they? Who are they actually? Most of the students, my long association with students, it makes me believe that 99% of the students are actually not for ragging, they don't do anything about it, but there is at least 1% who are really involved in this, and the others don't actually. So it has to, I think, the remedial step. University authorities can do certain things, but within the hostels, within the four walls of the hostel, it is very difficult to put up a full surveillance mechanism.
Therefore, if we have to take Rajiv Hendik's point that it is extremely difficult to have round-the-clock surveillance within the hostel campuses, in the similar manner that it is very difficult to plug every inch of a porous border. Now, Mayur Bora, in view of this, do you think exemplary punishment under the provisions of the law, I'll come to you, Bijon Mahajan, exemplary punishment under the provisions of the law, because the Supreme Court has described ragging as a criminal offense. So there is no bar. So exemplary punishment is the only way out. That's what the Chief Minister has indicated.
Absolutely. There should not be any ambiguity about that fact that moment a crime is committed, whether it is ragging or any other thing, whatever the established provisions of law says, I think this needs to be followed in toto and exemplary punishment should be meted out. I just like to highlight one particular point because Dr. Jayanta Das has highlighted the psychological aspect. If you see, like many of the cases, we have found that our authorities are very lenient, lax and soft, and they do not take they will be talking about this for 3-4 days, and then if you do not carry it forward, with police investigation, after 6 months or 1 year, this kind of incident will again recur, and then again we'll discuss about that. This is not a one-off incident. So I feel this time enough is enough. Now I think this is the time for action, and definitely exemplary punishment as established by the provisions of law has to be meted out to the perpetrators.
I'll come to you, Dr. Jayanta Das. Let me come to Bijon Mahajan once. Mr. Bijon Mahajan, I'm showing on the screen a copy of the FIR that has been lodged by the Dibrugarh University with the Dibrugarh police. Now it says that this boy, Anand Sharma, was physically assaulted from 4:30 p.m. of 26/11/2022 at the aforesaid PNG BCN hostel and continued until 5 in the morning of 27/11 by the below noted students, including the passed out student. Now, that means the university authorities are confirming this. University authorities are confirming that this boy, there is no doubt that he was being subjected to extreme torture. Now, I'll ask my producers to bring out the statement of Dr. Sahewala, who has described talked about the condition of the boy. We have shown it on our channel many times during the morning, Dr. Sahewala. We'll show it after some time. But Bijon Mahajan, what do you say? Let's go back to Bijon Mahajan. Can a foolproof case be made or not? Can we have a foolproof case?
It's like this. Here, one thing is very clear. The Anti-Ragging Act, the quantum of punishment may extend to only 6 months with or without fine. But as you have said, I'm handicapped by the fact that I don't have a copy of the FIR. I have not perused it. But as you have uttered it, the words I have heard, meaning thereby, apart from the Anti-Ragging Act's penal sections of our IPC would definitely be attracted.
Yes.
And if there are grievous injuries on the boy, definitely it would be a case under 326 of the Indian Penal Code. And if attempts were made to extinguish his life, even 307 IPC may be brought in. So police investigation would be on, and the anti-ragging section of law is a cognizable offense. That is why police would be at liberty to investigate the case, attributing that particular section of law of the Anti-Ragging, Assam Anti-Ragging Act, which came into being in 1998, along with the other sections of the Indian Penal Code, like 326, 307, etc., etc. And definitely police should investigate the case, because the Chief Minister has also said, who happens to be the Home Minister as well, meaning thereby the culprits are to be brought to book in accordance with law, and CM saying will prompt the police to investigate the matter, the investigator case in the tightest possible manner. And the charge sheet that would be submitted at the end of investigation would be definitely a foolproof one, watertight one, and the guilty would be punished in accordance with law. Now, this is very necessary because of the reason that these incidents should not reoccur, and there should be exemplary punishments, meaning thereby deterrent punishment.
Absolutely. Dr. Jandadas, you wanted to intervene. You wanted to say
see, we have crimes of different dimensions, of different kinds in our society. We have law for that, and we have also laid out punishment for each kind of a crime accordingly. In spite of that, in spite of imposing punishment, in our society, crime is not reduced. It is increasing in our state, in our country. We have to go why certain people are indulged in the crime or criminal propensity. We have to analyze that. So, for when in the context of ragging also, we have to see why some students, Rajiv Hendik has mentioned, it is only a very small fraction of students who are who indulges themselves in this kind of an activity. I do agree. I 100% agree with what has mentioned. Why this small percent of students are taking
should be allowed,
and now why they are behaving like this. So basically, if we discuss about the crime as a whole, we have to analyze and we have to go to the depth of why a criminal propensity in an individual personality, it crops up and crops up.
Yes,
it is
again. Bijan Mahajan, yes, go ahead.
Can I barge in?
Yes.
The philosophy, you say, the philosophy of law should be left to the legislature. I am talking about the law of the land at the moment. A crime has been committed, it has to be investigated by the police in accordance with law. The philosophy of law, as some panelists have suggested, is welcome. But that is for the legislature. The legality of law, as a student of law, I am saying that a crime has been committed under sections of the
Nobody is denying that.
Of the Anti-Ragging Act, as well as IPC offences. Police should investigate the case to the hilt with utmost sincerity and with all scientific investigation should be carried out, and the guilty should be brought to book.
Absolutely. Nobody is denying. My point is that even in spite of giving exemplary punishment in different kinds of crime,
I'm not saying, I'm not disagreeing with anybody. These are welcome steps. But the philosophy of law, that not myself saying, the Indian Constitution says that the philosophy of law should be left to the legislature, because they would create the law. Whatever law is at the hand we are having, we have to use it to the hilt, so the guilty boys are brought to book.
No, there is no doubt. Law has to take its action. No, there is no doubt about it. There is no dispute and no debate about it. My point is that we have to take, we have to discuss in a certain aspect from the mental health perspective also. The mental health perspective also, and that has to be, incorporated into the education system itself. Mental health, from the, I would say from the very early stages of the high school, once we incorporate all this into the system of education, we can educate our students and we can nurture their personality to grow in a healthy way, so that they do not have unhealthy mindset to indulge into this kind of criminal activities.
Absolutely. I think he is very right. Wasbir, only one point. This psychological counseling has to be comprehensive. Absolutely. It should cover everyone, because I can say, I think you will be the best person to judge, majority of the students, majority of the people in society have a streak of sadism in them. If we have a favorable ecosystem, which is very lenient, which is very lax, then it tends to evolve further and creates this kind of disturbing situation. That is why when you cover everyone with psychological counseling and the authorities act very, very sternly in case of this incident, then I think ultimately this kind of disturbing incidents will come down at some point of time. It will not further go away, absolutely, but it will definitely come down.
I want to play the bite, if possible, of Dr. Sahewala of the Assam Medical College, who commented on the condition, of the victim who is battling for life in the hospital. We have been showing the visual.
তেওঁৰ শৰীৰৰ প্ৰত্যেক ঠাইতে আঘাত পাইছে সৰু সুৰাকে, কিন্তু তাৰ হাতৰ এডাল মানে হাড় ভাগিছে, এইটো এটা গুৰুতৰ আঘাত। আৰু দ্বিতীয় আঘাতটো হ'ল তেওঁৰ মেৰুদণ্ডৰ এডাল ৰাজহাড় এডাল খুব বেয়াকৈ ভাগি গৈছে। আৰু এই ৰাজহাড়ডাল ভাগি তাৰ ভিতৰত যিখিনি স্নায়ু আছে, যিখিনি নাৰ্ভ আছে, তাৰ ওপৰতে এটা হেঁচা দিছে, যাৰ ফলত এইটো বোধহয় মাৰাত্মক হ'ব পাৰে। হয়তো তাৰ ভৰি এটা অকামিলাও হৈ যাব পাৰে ভৱিষ্যতে। এতিয়াও সেই ভৰিটো অলপ দুৰ্বল হৈ আছে, কিন্তু বোধহয় এইটো অপাৰেশ্যন কৰি পেলাই যদি সেই হেঁচাখিনি গুচাই দিয়া হয়, তেতিয়াহ'লে এই ভৰিটো তাৰ বাচি যাব আৰু তাৰ ভৱিষ্যতে খোজ চোজ কৰাটো অলপ সময় লাগিব, বেছ দীঘলীয়া হ'ব তাৰ চিকিৎসা। অস্ত্ৰোপচাৰটো সোনকালে কৰিব লাগে, নহ'লে তাৰ যিখিনি মানে হেঁচা আছে সেইখিনি বাঢ়ি গৈ থাকিব পাৰে। গতিকে যদি অস্ত্ৰোপচাৰ কৰে এই 2 এদিনতে কৰিলে বেছি ভাল হয়। যিহেতু মই আমাৰ নিউৰ' চাৰ্জন ডক্টৰ পানালালৰ লগত কথা পাতিছিলোঁ, তেওঁ সেইটো কথাই কৈছিলে যে এইটো 2 দিনমানত কৰি দিয়াই ভাল।
Now Kuldeep, Mr. Kuldeep Patwari, basically, what did the Supreme Court say? Supreme Court has said some very basic things, like, joint orientation program for freshers and seniors. The warden should address all students. Faculty members should dine with hostel residents to instill a feeling of confidence among the fresh residents. Anti-ragging committee, anti-ragging squad should make surprise raids. Wardens should be available round the clock. What has been your experience? Most of the institutions do not do anything of this. Anything at all.
Can I add certain things?
No, just a minute, Bijon. Let Kuldeep respond. I'll come back to you. Yes, Kuldeep.
Yeah. My experience has been that many institutes in India, many universities, colleges, and other institutions have taken some steps towards curbing the menace of ragging. And as I was previously mentioning, that our action against ragging has been in most cases punitive. We have been taking action after the incidents have taken place. Even in this case, the incident has been highlighted after the student had to unfortunately jump out of his room from the 2nd floor. But our efforts, I believe, should be more focused on preventing the entire incident from happening. So in that case, as you rightly said, Supreme Court has some guidelines, UGC has some guidelines on what needs to be done, but there is definitely a disjunct between what is there in the guidelines and what is being done. And in most cases, what is being done is not really enough or not really substantial. We need more effort on the part of the administration and authorities to increase awareness. Yeah.
Absolutely, awareness is the issue. Now, final comments from you, Mayur Bora. What do you think? Because the Chief Minister's statement has made it very clear that there is going to be a very serious investigation into what has happened in Dibrugarh University. Is that the sense you are getting?
Yeah, definitely I got a sense, and the fact that Chief Minister has to come down to address something about a ragging issue in an university, that itself shows that all is not hunky-dory in the university itself.
Absolutely.
They should take the message from the Chief Ministers, not only in respect of ragging, maybe for other activities of student also, and all this kind of illegal activities, if it is happening in the hostel, I don't say, but if it is happening, I think it has to be brought to an end forthwith. I think that's the message is very clear. Writing on the wall for Dibrugarh University authorities is very, very clear, and it has been highlighted by Honorable Chief Minister.
And Mayur Bora, it is not just Dibrugarh University. There's a lesson to be learned
for everyone.
For example, yesterday we have visuals. We have showed it. The university, the vice chancellor of a leading university in Assam, when asked a question to comment on what had happened in Editor-in-Chief University, decided to keep mum. He had not a single word to express. He was shocked that a reporter could ask him this question. Bijon Mahajan.
The only thing is, what the Supreme Court says was prior to the Assam law, because the reason, what Supreme Court said was very welcome, but that was at the Article 141 and Article 142 stage, because now law is there. And the law, anti-ragging law, the quantum of punishment may not be that high. So in this particular Dibrugarh University case, police investigation is on, and police investigation, apart from the section 4506 of the Anti-Ragging Assam Act 1998, IPC offences would be attributed.
Absolutely.
So police should investigate the case to the best of their ability and the guilty be brought to book and deterrent punishment need be there so that these occurrences do not reoccur.
Absolutely.
And the Supreme
absolutely,
Court said
absolutely,
was
Bijan
prior
Mahajan,
to failing
Bijan
of
Mahajan,
law. The law came into being in 1998 itself.
yes.
So let the law take its own course and the guilty be punished in accordance with law. And by way of a deterrent punishment,
we all expect,
so that these occurrences, incidents do not occur in future.
Yes, thank you, Bijan Mahajan. I'm run completely out of time. We all now expect a very good investigation. Obviously, there is going to be a good investigation into the case. Things can be taken into the logical end, and the guilty must be punished. At the end of the day, this boy Anand Sharma, according to the doctors attending on him, had said that he had a major injury to his spinal cord, and he has several other fractures on his body. So this is something which is extremely serious. This development has been extremely serious, and there's a lesson to be learned for the other universities and other institutions in the state as well as outside. And of course, if the Chief Minister's mood is to be gauged, I think the mood of the Assam government is that they are absolutely unhappy with the Dibrugarh University, the manner in which the Dibrugarh University administration has dealt with the case so far. We'll have to wait and watch for the investigation to unravel the mystery as to what had indeed happened, how many people were involved actually. Was it just 18? Was it more? What was the type of torture meted out to Anand Sharma? Did the warden act at all? Did the warden just keep quiet? Is there an attempt by the Dibrugarh University to protect certain people within the university, whether they're students, whether they're members of the Dibrugarh University staff? We'll have to wait and watch. I thank all my panelists for participating in the discussion and the viewers for watching the show. Good night and goodbye.